good wrestling shows should be like a buffet where everybody gets whatever they want to come. Some people want to see a hardcore match. Some people want to see a funny match. Some people want to see women wrestle. So think about that. Where do you fit within that giant buffet and benefit yourself, benefit the show, and benefit the fans? What's up, champions? Welcome back to another special edition of the Podcast of Champions. My name is Nick. You may know me better as Jamie. This is my beautiful, lovely bride, the yin to my yang, the one that holds all this house together, Miss Renee.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about something that is very near and dear to Miss Renee, but also pertains to wrestling, and that is marketing. So, Miss Renee, in a nutshell, what is marketing?
Social media. That's it. Just kidding. That's my biggest pet peeve. That's why I say that. I think when most people think about marketing, they just think about posting on Instagram or about like a TV commercial. Well, we're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into all the differences and what between those and like what is actually under the marketing umbrella, because it's a lot.
And why marketing is so important in wrestling.
Yes.
That'll be my job.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about marketing parallels today between corporate marketing and business / general marketing, and specifically pro wrestling marketing.
So tell us a little bit about wrestling. I hear there's something called the 5 Ps.
There is something called the 5 Ps. Before we jump into the 5 Ps, apologies, I'm going to pull us back a little bit. But for those that are joining us for the first time, I am the marketing coach here at the HOC. So I'm affectionately known as HOC Mom or the marketing coach or Renee, whatever you want to call me.
Ruthless Renee.
Ruthless Renee is what they call me. I'm not so much ruthless anymore, unless you forget something I already told you. I don't like to repeat myself. But I'm here to help all of our members and pro wrestlers in general get better at their marketing, understand marketing, help with their branding, help with their social media. I'm really here to help them develop a personal brand, if I were to sum it up, so that they are set up for success when they walk out of these doors to go take on the wild world of pro wrestling.
Awesome.
So, yes, we're going to jump into the 5 Ps. So, fun fact, if you've taken any type of marketing course in college, you've probably heard about the 5 Ps. If you took it 20 years ago, almost like I did, you might have heard about the 4 Ps. Spoiler alert, there's 5 now, because why not? We'll just add as many as we want. So we're going to go over the 5 Ps today, how you think about them in terms of marketing, and then how they translate into pro wrestling as well. So obviously we're going to be tossing back and forth here. So the first P that we're going to go over is product. That's a big one.
It is.
Yeah, you can't sell anything if you don't have a product, right?
Can't.
If you don't have anything to sell. So product itself, it's self-explanatory. It is what you have to offer. It is what you are selling. So myself, I work for a large, well-known consumer packaged good company, also known as CPG, is what I'm going to keep saying from here on out. But I have worked for them for about 7 years. Prior to that, I worked for a smaller company doing marketing. Prior to that, I worked in the music business, marketing, country music artist. So I have about a decade of marketing experience under my belt, along with an undergraduate in music business. And recently, 3 years ago, I got my master's in marketing as well. So credentials out. I'm super glad I'm not in school anymore. Did that with a 6-month-old at home. It was a little stressful. I'm glad that's over. Glad I have it, though. At the corporate company that I work at, when we go to develop a product, it's a lot of work. If you do it right, you're not just saying, hey, I want to make this thing because it looks fun or because I want it. There's a lot of research that goes into developing a product. You're really trying to fit a need in the marketplace. So you don't just create it out of thin air. Not saying that isn't done, but you should be creating it for a need that you see or something that a consumer wants. So your product, there's a lot of things involved in that, depending on what you're creating. So if we're talking about wrestling specifically, you're going to be creating your
Character.
There we go. So I'm going to pass it off to you to talk about that.
Now it's my time to talk. Okay. So yeah, obviously your character and what you're presenting is extremely important, because everything in wrestling has already been done. Whether you think it has or it hasn't, it has been done in one shape, way, or form or another. So how can you put your own spin on that? How can you make your product fill a need, as Renee said, and have it be different from every other product? You don't want to be a second-rate version of John Cena or Randy Orton or Hulk Hogan. Okay, you want to be the first version of you, which you can take inspirations from other people and other things that you've seen, whether it's in wrestling or movies or media or in just day to day life. Just like I'm sure in marketing, products take things from other people, but you need to put your own spin on it and make it your own and sell it in a way that fills a need. So characters is number one, and it's a big no that a lot of indie wrestlers they just want to learn the moves and they want to be the best at the moves and they want to hurry up and uh, get their first match, and they don't think about character or what they bring to a show or how they're different. And time comes for their first match, and then they say, "Oh, I've only got a week until my first match, and I don't have a character. What am I going to be?" So they play wrestler, and they're either a generic babyface or a generic heel or something that they've seen on TV, and they haven't given enough thought to what their character is and how they're different. So, product and the differentiation of that product is key.
Yeah, you nailed it. So when you're creating your product, whether this is pro wrestling or you're selling it, it's a physical product or service. Odds are, you're not creating something that has never existed before, unless you're Elon Musk. I doubt you're doing that. Usually you're going to be creating a version of a product that already exists that you think you can do better. Which is, if you were to like take Celsius as an example, it's a good example actually, because the energy drink market, there's no shortage of energy drinks on the shelf.
Very saturated.
At the grocery store. I'm glad you said that because I don't believe, and you set me up, you softballed me.
There you go.
I don't believe in saturated markets because anything can be done better. You can always go out and do it better. And that's exactly what Celsius did. They went and they found a need or a untapped portion. Now the P's are going to start blurring together a little bit, so bear with me. But they position themselves differently within the energy drink market. So how they set out, they're like, we're going to go into a market that there's plenty of other competitors, but we think we can do it better and we can do it different. So how did they do that? Well, actually, their first product that they came out, it didn't work. It wasn't different enough. And I don't know if we have a picture of the first packaging here, but they were positioning themselves a little bit different. I believe it was specifically about like burning fat. I think they were coming across as more of a fat burner energy drink, which was pigeonholing them into a certain type of the market, which wasn't working well for them. So they repositioned themselves slightly into being more of a lifestyle brand. So I mean, I'm literally the target market for this. The 30,
Celsius Queen.
Yeah, the 30-year-old busy mom that wants to live fit. That's literally their slogan. So they positioned it more into like a lifestyle drink, and you can see the accelerates metabolism isn't the main focal point of what their main product benefits are. It's really just a bullet underneath. They're giving off this lifestyle vibe more. So anyway, all that to say, they found a way to differentiate themselves on the shelf with their packaging, with their product benefits, and with their messaging, and it's obviously done well for them. So the same thing with wrestling, to your point. If all you have is the move set, like you're gonna go out, you might create a little bit of attention, but eventually that falls flat. Right? It falls apart. There's no foundation. You literally have one little aspect of the marketing funnel that is going to like get you a little bit of spark, but it's not going to have any longevity when it comes to maintaining your business.
It's not sustainable because if you only rely on your moves, chances are you're not going to be the best person at doing that move. So that's why you need to differentiate yourself on the character, which is why like Celsius is a great product, but there's a lot of products out there, not necessarily Celsius, that are the top of the market that aren't the best quality, but they've done the best marketing and differentiation, which is why they're at the top.
I want to make sure I don't bash this product because I actually love this product. But RX bars is a good example. They hurt my teeth. Like, I don't really enjoy eating them, to be honest. Like, they legit hurt my teeth because they're so chewy and hard. But I eat them and I love them because of their benefits, their brand equity that they've established.
Well, they taste really good too.
They do taste good. Maybe they could work on the experience, but like they like to your point, right? Is it top notch? Like the quality is 100%? Probably not, but everything else brings this full package together.
I mean, one of the top industries or one of the top companies in the fast food industry is
Chick-fil-A. Oh, it's my top. McDonald's?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does McDonald's have the best food you've ever had? No, but it has a name brand value, and it's everywhere. It's on every corner.
And it has a story.
Yep.
It has a brand.
Everybody knows once you see those golden arches, it's McDonald's. So,
Yep.
all right.
All right,
What's the next one,
we're
Miss
gonna go
Renee?
into the next one. I feel like I could stay on that one forever. Placement. So in terms of corporate marketing, placement is gonna be where do you buy it, right? It makes sense. Like where can you find this product? So this is gonna be a little bit of a different take on this. Because I want to make sure we're paralleling it to wrestling. But in the large corporate business that I work in, there's more than one brand under the big umbrella, but it's under one company. So of course there's like a set amount of resources and support that one company can provide the 8 to 15 brands that are under the umbrella. So it's my job within the company after I establish my product to come up with the story and the selling point and honestly just the case for my sales team to go sell it to where I want it placed. So, for example, if I want this on the stores at Walmart, my Walmart sales team has to be equipped with the right story and the right materials in order to go convince the buyer at Walmart to put it on the shelves. So, when it comes to wrestling, how would it relate for placement for y'all?
Yeah, so obviously, if you're a wrestler at a show on a card, you're one of at least 10, maybe even 20, maybe even more, depending on how many people are there. So where do you fit within that? If you're a if you are a clown, like a circus clown, but their champion is also a circus clown, you probably don't want to do that because like there's already a better version of that, or there's already a more established, more prominent version of that. So you want to make sure that you're shopping yourself around to specific promotions. But once you get into that promotion, where do you fit on the card? Where does it make sense? Are you more of a comedy act? Are you more of a serious? Are you a bad guy? Are you scare a horror character? Like what are you? Where do you fit on that card? Which is extremely important because wrestling shows, good wrestling shows, should be like a buffet where everybody gets whatever they want to come. Some people want to see a hardcore match, some people want to see a funny match, some people want to see women wrestle, some people want to see two heavyweights, some people want to see cruiserweights. There's a huge spectrum, and everybody can come and get whatever the genre they're looking for. If the wrestling show is good, there should be bits and pieces of every single thing. So think about that. Where do you fit within that giant buffet? Where's your niche where you can put your character and benefit yourself, benefit the show, and benefit the fans the most?
And talk about the selling yourself to the promoters as well. Like getting on the show alone can be a feat sometimes.
Yeah, well, I recommend first and foremost having a character. I recommend being able to pitch yourself, having a good resume. I know somebody who can do that for you. But being able to explain coherently what your character is, what they do, and why they would fit well into your show. And that could be pitching a storyline with other wrestlers. It could be just presenting your character like this is what they do, this is what type of fans like them, this is what they bring to the show. Like you need to be able to know your character in and out, and also where their benefit would most serve everybody involved.
Yeah, and this is really important. This is something we practice. I don't even know if our students realize how we're setting them up for this, but when they come into the Hawk, they work with you, Bobby, and Keikoa on creating the character.
Yeah.
Would I have an opinion? Absolutely, but that's probably not the best use of my time, right? So they work with you on developing their character. Then after the character is established, they come to me, and the requirement then in order to jump into the marketing and branding is they have to be able to pitch their character to me and articulate it in a way that I can understand. Now, I've never, hopefully I don't know too much about it. Small team, so sometimes I've heard a little bit about the character, but I want them to be able to sell me on their character. And if they can't do it in their language and like in their elevator pitch, they essentially have to go back to the, maybe not drawing table and establishing the character, but the drawing table. And you need to be able to, if you can't articulate it to me, I know you're not gonna be able to articulate it to a promoter, which is so essential.
Yep. So know your character, know your product, and know where it fits within wherever you're going.
Yeah, so that segues into technically the next P within your marketing 101 class is going to be price. We're going to not include that in this podcast because it's exactly what you think it is, how you price yourself within the market. And we could talk about rates. Maybe if we have time at the end, we will. But for the sake of relevance, we're gonna like offshoot placement a little bit, and we're gonna talk about positioning because it's a you even started dipping into it a little bit. It's not technically a P, but like it's probably my favorite thing to do when you're creating a product and launching something is how you position a product. So I'm gonna go back to Celsius here again because it's a good example and it's sitting here. But I was talking about the lifestyle component, right? Like how this is positioned. So name the top energy drinks that you would buy.
That I would buy.
Yep.
Celsius #1,
Okay.
Ghost, C4, and Rain probably.
Those are all okay. Yep. Those would be the. I'm surprised you didn't put Monster.
Well, I mean,
You think of Monster,
yeah,
though,
Monster was the OG. That and Red Bull were the OGs. But for my particular taste, that's what I would get.
So all of those, I wish I had them all lined up. It'd be a good little case study. But all of them have a different positioning in the market. So I would say when I think of Monster, I think of like off-road racing.
Kyle's.
Or like, oh, wah wah. Kyle, we love you. All the Kyles, we love you. So I think a little bit more intense, like maybe like the Kyles. No. Off-road racing is what comes to mind because I remember I grew up around that and they were always the big sponsor. Red Bull is a little bit more like extreme. Like I would say like I remember we did like a Flugtag thing, like where they're flying through the air. So they have like really extreme events. Like they're pretty intense. Celsius is more for like the fit mom, right? They're positioning themselves a little bit differently within the market for a different target. Ghost, how would you position? Ghost is an interesting one to me. I see everybody with Ghosts right now.
Ghost and C4 and Rain are kind of a lot similar. I feel like they're for the gym bro. I feel like I only see dudes drinking them, to be honest.
I saw a girl drinking Ghosts the other day,
Okay.
and that's what made me stop.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, maybe they're venturing into that.
They have some of the highest caffeine amounts, but I think it's for the. I see a lot of wrestlers have those, and I see a lot of people at the gym have those.
Yeah, if you were to put like I think C4 and Celsius are really good, or Monster, like they're really good comparisons. You can tell they're the same product essentially. They're targeting completely different people, and that's my favorite part about it is you could take the same exact product inside this can and position it completely differently. So I mean, the sky's the limit on that, right? So when it's talking about your character. You kind of got into this a little bit, but really, like, what's your target demographic? So go back to energy drinks. Celsius, I would say the 30-year-old fit mom with kids that's trying to stay awake and work out and be fit. C4 is probably more for like a gym bro. Maybe that's bodybuilder, even like getting ready for a competition. Those are two very different target markets. Now, when you come back to wrestling, the way I like to say it is like, is your main fan a John Cena fan? Is it a 12-year-old kid that like needs somebody to look up to? Or are you
You're saying my point for me.
Oh, I will hand it off to you. He's like, give me my section, Renee. You're taking it away from me.
Yeah, so as far as positioning in wrestling, you need to think about who your character speaks to. Basically, what's your target market? Just like the energy drinks. If it's the kids, obviously a huge demographic for like a John Cena is kids. Randy Orton, the ladies love Randy Orton. Kevin Owens, a lot of the dudes love Kevin Owens. You know what I mean? So those are just three different examples. So you need to think about like who your character is and who resonates with your character the most, what target demographic, and then you need to push it to them. And I would say in wrestling, you don't. Maybe it's different in corporate marketing, or I guess in like consumer products. You want to figure out who you're selling to first, maybe, and then create the product.
Always.
Yeah.
You're always.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in wrestling, I think you create your character first, and then you find out who that resonates with, and then you push it to them. So it's kind of a cart before the horse, chicken before the egg, if you will.
And I think the difference there is you bring a good point is in wrestling, like I could create a product and have no personal tie to it, and it could probably do well.
Yeah. Yep, that's the difference.
For you or for wrestlers, it has to be somewhat authentic.
Well, you need to be able to, drop into that character, or it needs to be yourself, just turned up to 11, larger than life. And when it is, it's better than just saying, oh, well, there needs to be a children's character, so I'm going to be a clown. I'm always going back to the clown example. It needs to be something that is authentic to you and that you feel comfortable with and that you believe in. And then you figure out, probably by trial and error and just by the reps in front of audiences and things like that, like who it resonates with, and then you push that demographic.
I think you could go back and forth too, right? Like, say you create this character that you love and it's you turned up to 11, and all of a sudden you realize you've created a replica of Cody Rhodes, right? You're like, oops, that kind of already exists. Then you can go back to the drawing board and say, well, what portion maybe, or what target person in the audience isn't necessarily being serviced by Cody, and tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, I would push back on that a little bit, because I think it's more of how is your character different than who does it pertain to more. Because if you're wanting to tweak your character, you need to differentiate yourself, which in turn, like you said, maybe changes the audience a little bit. Who I guess relates to you.
That's fair. You go back to my first point of, if you can do it better,
Yeah,
it can serve the same person.
exactly. Or you're just different. Like, you don't have to be necessarily better. There's 1,000,001 wrestlers, and so you just need to be different. You need to be somebody who people remember because you stand out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, where are we on number 5 now already?
We're on 4.
Okay.
So we're going to jump into the 4th P, promotion. So this is the one that most people think of when they think of marketing. And I always start off the marketing classes with this for the students of, when people think of marketing, what do they think it is? And they're like, social media or TV or online. Yes, yes, yes. That is only one portion of marketing. So we're on that portion, promotion. How do you promote yourself? So in a corporate marketing standpoint, we call them channels. There's lots of different channels that you can promote yourself through. The most popular one back about 10 years ago would have been TV, which is crazy that TV actually isn't the most popular one. Now it's social media. So even in the corporate marketing world, social is so big. You're going to have like YouTube as well. So online video. You'll still have print. There's still magazines. So that's another channel. Podcasts. So audio is a huge channel. And
a lot of things that pertain to your phone, basically, because you take your phone everywhere that you go, so anything that they can easily get on their phone.
Everything should be optimized for mobile. Absolutely. And then of course there's organic promotion as well. So organic is going to be like things you own. So besides your social media channels, like any email lists that you have, that you send emails out on. I'm trying to think of any more. I think we got the main ones.
Yeah, and it's the same for wrestling. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself to just Facebook or, just business cards. I don't know who does that, but like, you want to diversify to get your name out there to the most people possible. So obviously social media is king. It's free advertisement. There's 4 or 5 different platforms where millions of people sit and go to every single day. You can do, pictures, you can do videos, you can do I guess text, whether it's like an X, or anything like that. So there's 1,000,001 different ways that you can get your name out there, but that's what you got to do because it's so important. The stuff that you do in the ring is great. You need to be fundamentally sound, but I always tell people you can have the best drop kick in the entire world, but if nobody sees it and you don't get it out to different eyes, like, who cares? You can be the best wrestler in Podunk, Florida for your entire life because you didn't want to market yourself and get your name out.
Who do you think right now in the pro wrestling world is using social media the best?
I think Drew McIntyre has done a great job.
He's really stepped it up.
Yeah, he's just trolling.
Yeah, I love it.
He's just trolling, and it's gotten him over a lot. Joe Hendry's done a great job getting his name out and just going viral for his crazy theme song and stuff like that. Obviously, like a Logan Paul got recognized by WWE because of his social influence. You know what I mean? So those are just 3 quick off the top of my head. But there's so many people that don't do it, and I'm like, man, you guys are missing out because you could. It's all about building your brand. Wrestling will come and go, and I'm sure that Renee always tells these members here, wrestling will come and go. So like, you need to build your brand. It's not like, oh, let's just focus 100% on wrestling. Yes, obviously you want to focus on wrestling because like that's what you do and that's what your character is and that's what you spend all these times on. But it's a very short lifespan. The window and the time frame to be a pro wrestler is very short. So that's why you want to continue to build your quote unquote empire and diversify as much as you can. So like, God forbid if you get hurt or if you decide to retire or your wrestling's done, you have other things to fall back on where you continue to build your platform.
I'm glad you took us there. I wasn't expecting to go there, but can I park on it for a second? Because that's like a soapbox for me.
Parked.
Parked. You're right. I tell them all the time because they ask me all the time. This is a very common question. How much of my social media should be wrestling and how much of it should be personal? Or the follow up question, should I make a new Instagram handle for my wrestling? And, people might disagree with me. I always say no for a few reasons. One, being very simple, handling 2 Instagrams is a pain. Like, now you have 2 things to mature and take care of, or your personal one's probably just going to fall off.
Yep.
And you're not going to monitor it anyway. So you should have just kept it in the first place and pushed that one with the 1,000 followers you probably had from friends and family. The only way I would recommend having a private one is if you're a minor and like your parents want you. I've had that conversation a few times. I totally respect that. Or 2, you have kids or there's something in your life that you really genuinely need to keep private. Like, I respect that as well. And you're like, hey, I'm only going to have like 20 followers. It's for my my literal family. Totally understand that as well. But I don't recommend it just because it's a lot to handle and take care of. And then secondly, I will always say regarding how much of it should be wrestling, how much of it should be personal, is that comes down to content strategy, which is a separate podcast that we can link to. But I always think it should be a mix because to Nick's point, you're creating a personal brand. Here at the Hawk, I'm helping develop the character, absolutely. But I'm more importantly here to help develop the personal brand because odds are your character is going to change. A few times. People will know. I mean, it's 2024. People are going to want to know the real you as well. Like, you can't hide behind your wrestling mask anymore. It's not going to work. So I want you building your personal brand. And finally, wrestling will end. It's a real thing. One day, God forbid it's from an injury. Maybe it's from age. Maybe it's from something else. Maybe it just didn't work out. One day, it's not going to be there. And then what? And, I think we've seen cases where that's happened. Yeah. Unfortunately, people get let go. They don't have it anymore. They don't have anything to fall back on. They just don't have a brand where they can go launch that passion project that they've always wanted to do, but they couldn't because they were too busy wrestling. That way, if, for God forbid, it's gone, you have this brand and this equity with your fans and with the people that follow you where you can, I don't need it. Right. I can go and I can make my living off of the thing I really want to do. And just shout out, I think 2 people that have done that extremely well right now is Tanel Dashwood and Mike Rallis, how do you say his last name?
Yes.
They got let go, I think, together from the WWE a year ago, and look at them now. Like, I love I use them as an example here a lot because I love watching their socials, and I think they created a brand and are seeing success off of it now.
Yeah, and they used the following that they had from wrestling to parlay that into what they're doing now.
So well done, you two.
Yes. All right, we're on the final P.
Final P is people. So this is the new P, by the way. This is the one they added. I should have looked up what year they added it, but this is the new P. So from a corporate perspective, this is the giant network of people that it takes to get a product on shelf. So I've been doing corporate marketing for 10 years, CPG marketing for 7. I have one product on the shelf. Okay, like, it takes a lot to get, like, from conception to on the shelf at Walmart. It took me about 3.5, 4 years, I think, of development. Now, yes, I'm in a very large corporation, which it takes a little longer. If you were in a startup, you could probably do it a lot quicker, just as a disclaimer. But the amount of people and hands that went into getting this product on the shelf, oh my gosh. Hundreds, maybe 1,000, but hundreds of people, just tons of different teams. And in order to get something like that through and approved through all those different, all that different red tape you have to get through, you have to have really good relationships. And you need to relate to people and have people you can call on. So networking is really important, and making sure that you establish your personal equity within your company in order to get your product out.
Yeah. No,
so I'm assuming that relates to wrestling.
No, I mean, it couldn't be more true in wrestling. It's not about, what you know or how good you are. It's about who you know and the connections that you make. And it's tough because it's self-promotion and you're your own business and you're trying to climb the ladder and get as high as you can by developing these relationships. So you don't want to do it in a superficial way where you are using people. Number one, that's not honoring, and also people see through that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it does take a village to, you know, create a superstar. Um, you know, it takes 10 years to become an overnight success, and there's no such thing as a self-made man or woman. You know, they've had wrestlers, promoters, trainers, fans, like, and that's just off the top of my head to help them create the character and craft it and get better in the ring and on the mic and, you know, in the gym and all those things, you know what I mean? And so you can be the best ever, but if you don't create those relationships with friends that are like, hey, why don't you come with me to this promotion? Or, hey, I know this promoter, let me get you in touch with that. Or a promoter is like, hey, have you ever worked over here? Or, hey, I've got people in with, you know, one of the major 3 companies, or, you know what I mean? Or anything. Those relationships can catapult it, and it's so much easier, not easier, but it's so much more efficient, I guess I could say, when you have those relationships. Number one, because obviously it's, you don't want to just be going and doing this as, you know, a lone wolf, or, you know, by yourself, because wrestling can be a very lonely sport and can be very demanding and very taxing and unforgiving, you know. So you need to have those relationships and that fellowship and those people that you can confide in and be friends with and ride to the shows with and create those relationships with. And you know, I've had some of my best friends that I've learned or that I've met from wrestling. So people are key, you know. One of my favorite quotes, I'm a quote guy:
Oh, it's gonna be something about like go alone or go with.
if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Yeah, I nailed
Couldn't
it.
be truer in wrestling. Could not be truer in wrestling. So just think about that. Yeah. Was that it?
That we got through them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I hope this helped. I know that it's helped me tremendously. And I guess at the end of the day, just think of your wrestling like you are an entrepreneur. You are a sole proprietor. You are your own business. You know what I mean? So that means you're selling, you're marketing, your, you know, accounts receivable, accounts payable, like your entire corporation is all you. Human resources, which some of y'all need to work on. But you have to think about it in a business sense. You are a business, and so many people don't treat it as such, and you can tell that they're holding themselves back and they're just going and having fun and spinning their wheels. And the more people who take it seriously, those are the people who rise to the top. So my challenge and my encouragement to you is to treat yourself like a business, be a professional, and go out there and you know, make a difference and be the best that you can be.
I
And
love it.
so thank you guys so much for watching the Podcast of Champions. Thank you, Miss Renee.
Thank you.
And until next time, be great, be excellent, show love, go make a difference today, champions. Go
Go
mad.
mad.